Hello. It is great to have you all here. I just don't know how many of you out there have a mixed bag. And when I say mixed bag, I'm not talking about walnuts and nuts. I'm talking about a mixed bag in terms of neurodiverse kids and neurotypical kids, all under the same house. I know, I do. I've got 4 kids, and I have neurodiverse kids and neurotypical kids. All 4 of them with very different abilities and a very different nervous system, very different way of approaching and doing things. And so I'll be honest, parenting them can be actually quite stressful at times. Like imagine having to switch gears between you having a difficult moment and then moving to a child who requires you to be calm and mindful and resourceful, and then to a child who doesn't want any of that. All of them feed off your energy. Now, because every child is very different, I have often found myself really guilty of taking that anger of one child and placing it on another child. That emotional baggage that I have, it switches from one child to another child quite quickly. And it's a spillover effect. And the guilt that I end up carrying with me, it does tear me apart. So let's get back to the podcast now, because I could go on and on about what parenting for kids, for very different kids, can be like. But this conversation in this podcast is important to me for those reasons. And so that's why I thought it's really important to give you context. Today, I have with me a medical doctor with a background in emotional intelligence. And her perspective really stands out to me because she talks about not only just medicine, she talks specifically about parenting in today's world. She's Dr. Aqdas Tariq, and she's currently pursuing her master's in clinical psychiatry. She works as a parenting coach, helping parents understand themselves better so that they can regulate their own emotions and create a calmer, more peaceful parenting journey, especially when life at home feels loud and honestly overwhelming. You will find her on Instagram as Dr. Aqdas Tariq. There is wealth of information there. So I'm going to put her details in the show notes. Do go and visit her. But meanwhile, today, let's just dive in and hear what it's all about. She'll basically be covering about what parenting 2 different sets of kids, the hidden friction points, the guilt, the comparison traps, and most importantly, what actually works when you want connection without burning yourself out. So let's get into it. Welcome to the show. Hi, I'm Farah Danish. Welcome to my Calm Autism Mom podcast. I'm a certified brain gym movement facilitator, former special educator, and a mindset coach. Through my podcast, I bring together parents, experts from educational, psychology, and medical communities to share innovative insights on parenting and supporting individuals on the spectrum. My mission is simple: to continuously learn and share the latest autism-related news and strategies, bringing you powerful conversations and practical solutions you can use right now. So, if you're an autism mom searching for answers, support, or just some real inspiration, you're in exactly the right place, my friend. Let's transform your autism parenting journey starting right now. Hello, everyone. I have with me an amazing person who I've been following for quite some time, and I've always wanted to call her on in my show. And I'm so glad that she took some time out to sit in with me. And today we're going to be talking about and deep diving into some really interesting things that we don't get a chance to talk about, mainly because we're always consumed with just talking about the child in question, which is our special needs child. And we forget the other roles we play. We forget that we are parents to our other neurotypical kids. And so today we're going to be talking extensively about that balance, because let's be honest, we're all struggling with it, and that's okay. But this
talk is specifically about how we can get some insight, some perspective, and how we can tweak it to make it our own. So join me in welcoming Dr. Aqdas Tariq. Hello, Dr. Aqdas, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good, Farah. And first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you and to talk about the things I love to talk about. So thank you so much for having me.
So, like I said, I have been following you on Instagram for some time, and I love your like the last one that you did on the fact that we cannot give up on our kids,
Mhm. Mhm.
small kids specifically, like older kids, okay, they can figure it out. You've done your bit,
Yeah.
and now you just have to leave them, right? But your younger kids, you don't have a choice, and
Mhm.
that kind of resonated a lot with me because I've got four kids, and each one of them are very different,
Different.
and
Mhm.
exactly, and not giving up on them. That thought is very scary because you're working with four different kids who
Yeah.
are their operating system is so unique. So where do you feel, in your experience or in your opinion, does that parents seem to get stuck?
Yeah, you first of all, you're very right that every child is very unique because we generally hear that autism is a spectrum and every child on the spectrum looks different. But I personally believe, and that is not what only I believe, that is also what science tells us, that every human is unique basically. So although there are going to be very similarities in neurotypical children, but ultimately they're all going to be very different, right? So what happens is, especially with the neurodivergent kids, when we have a neurodivergent kid in our family, the everybody is going to, even if they're not going to say something bad about them, they're going to look at them in a very different way. And the look, maybe it's not something like making bad face, but the look like if your child is having a meltdown or if they're screaming or if they're not listening that to little requests, even the look is going to just shatter the heart of a parent. So even if you're blessed and you're not listening to bad comments, which most parents with with the neurodivergent kids would have to listen at some point in time, because obviously not everybody is at the same level of intellect or social norms or empathy, or maybe they're just having a bad day, so they're going to spit out some things, but some words that are not very good. So this is something very heartbreaking for a parent's heart, right? And we think, okay, there's something wrong in my child,
Mm.
and we keep on trying our level best. Okay, now अब ये करूंगी तो ठीक हो जाएगा, right? अब now let's go to the therapy, let's talk to the coach, let's do one-to-one time, and let's get an app, an ACC app and all that. But the progress in a child with autism is so slow, is so slow that it will not appear to you like, theek ho gaya, everything is fine now, everything is hunky dory now, we are just going to follow the routine and everything is going to be perfect. So it's kind of so exhausting and draining that a parent feel, especially mothers feel, okay, I have done everything
Yeah.
and it's not worth it. Nothing I can do can improve it. So in our heart, we comes to believe that I have tried everything in the world and nothing is
Mm.
working. Nothing is working. So that feeling, kind of shatters our heart, and we kind of subconsciously, obviously, it's a very subconscious thing that we do, that nothing can improve this situation. However, that's not true. N- that's not always true. Because
Yeah.
the if we think at a deeper level, we can tell ourselves that, okay, everything that I have tried is not working at the moment, maybe. Or maybe I am not able to look, maybe there are other ways to help or support my child. Maybe there's something that I can change in my personality to improve my child personality. Or maybe there are some other ways out there that can help
Mm.
me. And one more thing, and maybe the change or the progress is so subtle, and
Yeah.
and that you are not able to recognize it, but your child is making a progress. The progress will not come in, I mean, if you're looking for the progress that other people's looks will change, that might take a long time, and that might take eternity. No, only God knows that when your child will be talking and speaking and doing, and maybe he's got a good job or he's running a business that people are looking like, oh wow, he's the man, or she's the woman, right? So
Yeah.
if you're measuring your progress with the reaction of other people, that might never
It's
come. So we have to, yes, to kind of change the perspective, and then and maybe note down the little progress that you have done every week or maybe every month. Okay, now he can drink water from the glass, now he can pour water from the cup. Okay, and then celebrate it with yourself, because obviously not other people are going to say celebrate these little things. Yeah,
Of
so this
course,
will
you
give you.
have to make your own planner. You have to make
Yeah.
your own sticker chart if that helps. Like
Yes,
go for it,
yes,
right?
yes,
Well, it's very interesting you mentioned that it is exhausting because
yes.
we assume that progress should happen in a specific way for everyone. We
Hmm.
understand autism is a spectrum. We
Hmm.
understand everyone's unique, but there's this inbuilt wiring,
Hmm.
hardwired into our
Yes.
brain that this is what progress should look
Is.
like.
Yes.
And when that one child
Yeah.
doesn't hit those milestones or those,
Yeah.
that progress, the checklist that you have, when he doesn't hit that, do you think that there is this ripple effect then on other kids as well? That the parents start behaving or maybe start just being different around other kids. It could be in terms of expectations also. But do
So
you see that?
do you mean that we expect more from our neurotypicals, or do we expect less
Do
from a
you think that
neurotypical? What do you think?
that
What's your perception? I would like to know that
I
first.
think okay. I feel that then we start having more expectations from our neurotypical kids.
Yes.
They're like, okay, यहाँ तो कुछ दाल वो कहते हैं ना गलने वाली यहाँ तो नहीं होने वाला है. I mean, I'm making
Huh.
light of the situation, obviously, but यहाँ it's not going to work out. So you have to take all the expectations we had with this
Exactly.
child.
Hmm.
अब आप पे भी हम वो expectations अब
Huh.
आप पे भी डाल. So it's like
Exactly.
2 plus or 1 वाला situation हो जाता है. Have you ever had those moms who come up to you and realized, oh my God, I've been putting too much on, expectations on
You
my other kids?
I'll be honest with you, Farah. It's everyone. It could be you, it could be me, it could be everyone, because it's as you mentioned, it's our hard wiring. If we are not going to be self-aware, we are the
Mm,
natural momentum of a human would be like this. So, and it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean that I am a bad mom. It doesn't mean that, you are cruel, or you are, you know, there is a quotation which says, eyes don't see what mind doesn't know, right? So if we are not aware that I can do this, then how can I stop myself from doing this? So, yes, this happens, and you're very right that this happens, and kind of, and if you look at it at a deeper level, what are we doing is it's our expectations are, and we kind of want our children to be the perfect, and the world is going to, look at him and say, wow, ye mera beta hai, ye
they
meri beti
represent
hai.
us. Yeah.
Exactly. And then we are going to boast about our children in front of everyone. And when our dreams are not met in one place, we'll try even harder with other children. You know. So yeah, that's happened. And what I think that autism teaches us to, in a very in a sense, to let go of your own ego, to love your child for who he is, and for if you have a neurotypical children, you might not get an opportunity to learn this. But if you have a neurodivergent and neurotypical, your eyes are so fully open. You're going to see so much colors of the world that most other humans will not be able to ever see. So I think that that is an opportunity to be self-aware, and it's going to be painful. Obviously, it's not going to be a oh my god, I'm self-aware and I enjoying it. No, it's going to be very painful, in fact. but but you
It
know
is.
uh the beauty is that if we are going to go through that pain, we will be able
Mm.
to enjoy some real enjoyment. We'll be able to enjoy the present, when we enjoy.
When you say pain, are you talking about the pain in accepting that this is a neurodivergent kid, this is a neurotypical kid, and the world looks very different from their eyes? Are you talking
Yes.
about that kind of acceptance?
Uh, the acceptance that maybe my dreams will not come true as I think, and it's something very hard. And the acceptance that it's not that my child is not doing something is hurting me the most. It's the thing that is hurting me more is my expectations, the fear of my expectations not being met. And only 26% of the children with autism have intellectual disability, right? So what does that mean on
Only,
paper?
sorry,
Only
sorry, can you repeat
26%.
that?
26%.
No
Yes, the last I read.
way.
Yes. So what does
No
that
way.
mean? Are you shocked?
I am. I genuinely am shocked because I thought I knew this community best.
And what does that mean? That other more than 70% of the children who are going to diagnose with autism, they will be eventually independent. They will lead a normal life, right? They can lead a normal life if supported. If supported.
Mhm.
But because they're different and our brain perceive different as something bad, right?
Abnormal.
Okay, bad. इसको नहीं आता, ये नहीं कर सकता, and the eyes of every human on the planet is going to tell you कि आपके बच्चे में कोई मसला है.
Huh.
So we're
Yes.
subconscious going to believe कि, he is not the capable one, or she cannot do that, right? So I think that if we're going to change the perception and focus on supporting the child, it बिल्कुल ऐसे ही है, like if your child is weak in maths, so you will get them a tuition of math, or you will get them a tutor to support them in math. Same is the case if the child is having difficulty in communication, in language, in expression, in expressive language or receptive language or whatever, or they need occupational therapy they have sensory issues, support them. And then eventually, by the grace of Allah, inshallah, they will learn to be independent. They will eventually learn to live their life. And also, not every human on the planet becomes a doctor or engineer or Einstein or billionaire or CEO of a, or a tech giant, but most of us are normal human beings, like we are. Like I'm a normal human, right?
No,
So,
there are. It's interesting you say that because we're living in a world now where the possibilities are endless. Like it's
endless.
no longer just, those two, three professions. Now there's
Yes, doctor
so,
banjo, engineer banjo, yeah, Fauji
yeah,
banjo.
people are creating their own kinds of jobs. Like
Yes, yes,
it's crazy, right?
yeah.
But you're right. We seem to be stuck over there. Now, as a mom, what
Mm,
happens is that when we notice that one child needs more of them,
mm,
more of the mother,
yeah,
what we obviously, the most obvious thing we end up doing is we give that child more of our time, more of our
yes,
energy, sometimes not by choice,
yes.
right?
We
They
have
just
to.
need more of them. Exactly. And then we expect everybody else also in the family to take on this mission that he needs all of us.
More time. Yes,
Yeah, he needs all of us
yes.
to support. मैं तो हुई हूँ इस सीन में, लेकिन आप लोग भी सब, you all have to get in and
Exactly. Yes, yes.
it.
Mm,
But then there comes a time when there is a guilt.
hmm.
A guilt in the mom and humble. I was reading about this the other day that guilt is something that totally drives your energy, your frequency, जो होती है ना हमारी जो
Hmm.
energy levels, it just zaps it. That
Yes,
feeling,
yes.
that emotion of guilt. And unfortunately, apart from being parents to a child on the spectrum, we live with that guilt of not being able to be there fully for our other relationships. So,
Yeah.
how do you think a mom can walk through that guilt?
Yes, you're right, Farah, that guilt takes all our energy out, and it really breaks our heart. But I would like to just say one thing, that guilt is not always bad. I mean, if you have
Okay.
so much guilt that you are not able to do anything, and you're just sitting in depression and you're doing nothing, then guilt is bad. Like
Okay.
sugar is good in small amount. Like we all take carbohydrates, but if you're going to take so much of a carbohydrates, like so much of sugar, they're going to let you to diabetes. But you cannot live without carbohydrates. You need some carbohydrates to be alive, right? So
Right?
we don't need to have zero guilt, because then we will be just doing whatever we want to do.
It's an
I mean,
important
yes,
emotion.
yes, it's an
Okay.
important emotions, yes. But so the question comes that, how can we balance this? So how can we balance of, I mean, what is the right amount of maybe guilt, to have?
Mhm.
So, what I personally see that in a families, which most families are a combination of neurotypical and neurodivergent kids. Mostly it's, I mean, either you have, you don't always have all neurodivergent kids. It's generally a combination of neurodivergent and neurotypical kids. So what happens is, for some of the days, the parents will do, okay, we are going to, everybody is going to be same screen time, same outings, and same. So that sensory break will not be enough for a neurodivergent child. Then that is going to break down, and he or she will have more meltdowns, and then say, okay, it's not working, let's give him more, and you are going to have less. And right, and we
Mm.
keep on ping ponging between same, and different. So because we are having guilt at one end of the spectrum, when we see that, okay, now if we are going to give everything same, then our neurodivergent child is needing more of sensory input. And if we are going to give them different, then the neurotypicals are going to say, oh, why is he having so much screen time? Why is he
Yeah.
going more on the playground? That's not fair, right? So we can, okay. Now we feel guilty for our neurotypical children, and then we kind of, keep plup at the,
Yes.
like a pendulum.
Losing our brain, basically.
Yes, exactly. So here, I think one thing that we need to understand is fairness is not sameness, right?
Mm.
Like equality,
Yes.
equality is not, there's no equality in this universe, if you see.
Eh, eh,
Most human have two eyes, two ears, one nose, but everybody is still different, right? Everybody has fears and joys and and worries, but not everyone has same worries, not everybody enjoys the same thing. So if we replace equity from equality, that is going to be a fair
mm.
understanding of, first of all, my understanding that what is fairness. What is
Yes.
fairness? Yes, because if, let's take the other side of the spectrum, like, because there are going to be some families which will not have either resources to support their neurodivergent child,
Yeah.
right? Not everybody has resources to support you, because what we are talking is from a place of kind of privilege, that we have the resources. We're talking about the parents who are aware, I mean, because autism requires you to have a lot of awareness of your child's
Yes.
need, and then you can need a lot of resources to support your child. You might have to make a lot of adjustments.
Manage those resources as well.
Exactly. So that requires a lot of brain, that requires a lot of money, and that requires, a lot of emotional, and it requires a lot. So what will happen in the families who don't have the resources? They're going to focus obviously on their neurotypical children, because they don't know how to support, or maybe they can't. So what will happen to the neurodivergent child in that family? He's going to be lagging far behind. He or she will be dependent for life for other people. So do you think, that
Mm.
obviously it's difficult to balance, but we can balance? And even if we can't balance perfectly, because there's no one perfect in the human, or except from Allah, so
Yes.
मैं perfect नहीं हो सकती, and that's okay. If we are going to accept it, I will be at peace that there are going to be disagreements and there are going to be problems, but that's okay. Let's manage it. So
Yeah.
if you want me to continue, I would like to give one suggestion here. How can we make our neurotypical kids that this is not fair? I think that if we give them attention, and we tell them, for example, if the child is older, they will say, okay, this is not fair, and don't
Mm.
take it personally. But because we as mother feel hurt in that moment, we say, after all I have done, I am exhausted. My career is just finished, and I am mad. Look at me. I've got wrinkles and my hair is turning white. And,
Your bache balen turning white, you mean? What's left of the hair on the head, okay, is going
उस
white.
वक्त क्योंकि हम उस वक्त हर्ट होते हैं ना, हमें तकलीफ हो रही होती है, एंड इन दैट मोमेंट वी जस्ट अब तो तेरी खैर नहीं है बच्चा, जिसने बोल दिया ये। But
I'll show you fair.
yes, exactly. मगर पता है क्या, अगर आपका बच्चा आपसे ये कह रहा है ना, it means that he still have a trust in you, he still wants attention from you, and that's a beautiful sign, right?
So
So
that was
what
going to be my next question, actually. But thank you for
really?
saying. Yeah, yeah, I was going to ask you that. How can you become that safe person for the child who's always feeling it's not fair?
And that's okay. First of all, I'll tell you how to manage the situation and why to manage the situation in this way. If a
Yes.
child comes to you, I told you the normal reaction. ठीक है कि हम क्या उस वक्त हम कहेंगे ठहर जाओ जरा, क्योंकि हम खुद इतने we are so drained and we are so in pain that any trigger can go into just make us erupt our emotions out. So in that moment, first thing is take a pause, take a pause, take a pause, and it's so difficult to do to actually take a pause in that moment because we are अब तो मैंने सब कुछ निकाल देना है अंदर से जो मेरे अंदर है, ठीक है? but but if we go into science of it, your child is in most probably in his sympathetic nervous system, right?
Mm,
So it's a fight
right.
and flight mode. And what he has just said to you, it's not fair. It has also triggered you. And now you are
In
also
that,
in your fight and flight mode. So
oh
that
my
is the
God.
reptilian brain, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean? That there's no blood flow going to your prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking, rational brain, which tells you how to think, how to rationalize, how to do logical thinking. So now
You know
there are
what it's
two
telling me?
babies.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was going to tell you, I'm like, there's no flight happening, only fight happening.
Yes, yes. Yes, because we flight when we are fearful of the next person. But in this case, we know that it's our child. Okay, अब मैं तुम्हें मजा बताती हूँ, ठहरो जरा. And what happens is that all the other build up emotions with your maybe therapist, with your family, with your neighbors, with this just a person who was passing by are now going to come out.
Oh,
So why? Yes, and your child has fire, and we have our own fire, and we are making a big fire together. So so taking a pause is very, very important in that moment. Or
oh my
if you
God.
if you want strength, if you want, okay, how can I pause? Then take strength. Okay, if I'm going to pause in this moment, it's going to be an act of worship. Worship is not only praying namaz 5 times a day. You are doing it fulfilling your responsibility as a mother because God has commanded you. So that is going to energy. And how to take a pause. If you want to go in the science, take a deep breath. It's something that is activates your parasympathetic nervous system back, that is the calm one, and the cool one. And because first I need to be calm to manage the situation well. If two person are both in behaving like a child, nothing is going to come out. It's going to make the situation worse, and then we are going to regret later. So it's
And
very
there's
important to take a pause. Yeah.
right, and there's no learning happening because when you are in that moment, your child is actually, even in that moment, learning how to handle situations by watching how you respond at that time.
Yes.
If you are ready to erupt in that fight
Yes.
mode, you're like, that is what I should also be doing.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I've noticed that with
Yes,
my
you're very
kids.
right. You're very right, Farah. And just to build up on what you have said, because we erupt, therefore our children erupt. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can we turn this eruption into a conversation? That is the more important time because everybody knows that this is the problem. Everybody has this problem.
Yep.
Yeah. So if your child is coming, so first thing would be that I need to be calm. I need to calm myself. So maybe
Take
for
that
first
pause.
few
Yeah.
week, I'll just suggest the mothers who are listening to just take a pause. And once you have managed to pause, take the conversation, talk to the child in some other time. Because
Mm.
in that moment you cannot rationalize, you cannot manage the situation. And it's okay. Take a pause. Okay, we'll talk about it later. If you can't calm yourself down in that moment, take a pause and just delay the conversation for the time being. And then when you're both in a in a more calmer mood, you can say, okay, you said that it's not fair. Why do when you're going to say whatever your child said, it's going to lower their defenses. Okay,
Mirror
my
their
mother.
words? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes. Okay, just repeat them. If you don't want to have some fancy things in mind, just repeat. Okay, you think that this is not fair. And just imagine if you go to your husband angry and say, "This is not fair." And he said, "Okay, you think it's not fair." How would you feel? Your emotions will all calm down. Okay, he's listening. I mean, I am being seen. And this is the thing which every human needs, to be
that's
seen.
the root
Yes.
of all
Y-
problems. You're right. They just want to see
yes,
that
you're
they're being
right.
seen and heard.
Seen, heard, and you might not agree to what they're saying, but being seen would dissolve half of your problems. So we
Yeah.
are going to say that, okay, you think that this is not fair. Why do you think it? Okay,
Mm.
let's let them speak. Okay, and then they're going to tell you, maybe he's having more screen time and I'm not having screen time, blah 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 blah. And then at that point you can rationalize, okay, he's having screen time for regulation, maybe, because now every
That might
child,
be a
every
reason.
scenario
Yeah.
is going to be different. And in
Right.
that point in time, because obviously, if you are such a self-aware mother and
Mm.
you're doing so much, I mean, so then you would have your reasons. You would not be throwing
Yeah.
tablet,
Yeah.
okay, jaan chodo yaar, tablet lo. You would not be doing that. Definitely there would be some reason to why you're doing. Uh,
But even if you don't have that reason, just
hmm,
having this conversation brings awareness to you of, yeah,
yes,
why am I doing that? Like it makes you
yes,
question your actions as well. Then
yes, exactly,
either
exactly.
way, it's a learning opportunity.
Yes, definitely. That's a very beautiful angle of looking at it, because in that moment, we can also look at, okay, if I am doing for my neurodivergent or neurotypical, is it helpful for them or is it not helpful for them? Maybe I would have to, or maybe any parent, I or you or any parent who is having this conversation would learn from this conversation that, okay, let's talk about it, let's change it, or let's improve it, maybe, and that's going to be beautiful. Yeah.
You know, we often don't speak enough about the baggage that siblings carry of
Hmm.
neurodiverse children. Because
Hmm.
we have a voice, we now turn to Instagram as if it's our therapist or something like that, and we do that, right? We
Yeah,
moms do
yeah,
that.
yeah, of
And I
course.
get it. I mean, to each mom their own, right? But kids don't do that.
Yeah.
And because social media is what it is, our kids, our neurotypical kids, friends, they are also on social media.
Hmm.
So they can also see your mom venting on social
Hmm.
media. Now, those are things that sometimes these kids cannot come home and tell their moms, don't do it.
Hmm.
So this is just one angle I'm talking
Angle.
about. There's so many angles, right? Like
Hmm.
we say that we are burnt out from therapist schedules, from listening to teachers and inclusion services that we have to fight
Yeah.
for and advocate. Like we're burnt out from that. But kids, siblings, they don't
Hmm.
even know what they're burnt out, but they are also with
Hmm.
all the
Yes.
invisible load that they carry too,
Yes.
right?
Yes. You're right.
Yeah. What I mean, now when I'm talking out loud, there's so many questions, and I know it's almost impossible to talk about that, but I do want to shed some light on that load that these kids carry too.
Yeah.
And when they don't have an available mom, an
Hmm.
emotionally available mom, it can be very isolating
Yeah.
because sometimes, and I think this is what's really important, is that moms should be very mindful of what conversation they're having with these
Yes.
siblings by not making them feel that, oh, your problems are not that big.
Big. Yeah, that's beautiful line. Yes.
His or her
Yes.
problems are bigger than yours.
Bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they end up suppressing from a
Hmm.
very young age.
Yes, yes, you're
Yeah.
right. You're absolutely right. I can just agree with you on this.
Yeah.
And also the neurodivergent kid will also think that, okay, maybe I am a problem, that everybody else is suffering, you know that, okay, or maybe if I would not have autism, my family may be happier, so that is something that is there. And the only other way of looking at it, the whole situation could be in a spiritual way, that, like Allah says that He doesn't burden a soul more than what he or she can bear. So everybody has their fair share of difficulties,
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is no human on the planet who will not have difficulties, whether you're a billionaire, you know,
Yeah.
whether you are, having very low wage job, you will have your own share of difficulties and you will have your own share of ease. So one way of looking at it, to ease ourselves, because obviously we cannot take whatever trouble we have in our life away. I mean,
Yeah.
we cannot change
Would
the school
love to.
system. We cannot change the therapies. We cannot
Yeah.
change the people looking at me. I mean, they should. The humans should empathize with them, but we cannot teach them. We cannot
Force
change
them.
them. Yes, exactly. So everybody has their fair share of difficulties, and everybody has their fair share of problem. The thing with neurodivergent kids is, mostly in our culture, हम लोग मसलों को ना छुपा देते हैं. This is what we
Yeah.
do when we have a problem. But you cannot hide autism. It's screaming
Yeah.
out loud. Everybody can
Yeah.
see it.
Don't no hide your feelings around autism. That
Yes.
is a big one.
Yes.
How can you say that about it? It's like, yeah, but this is some things that my brother does embarrasses me. Something that
Yeah.
my sister does embarrasses me, and I can't even say that
Yes. Yes.
to my
Yes. Yes.
parents. Otherwise, I look like the mean sibling. So
So yes, and again, I think that what we can do in this situation is to have this conversation. Have this conversation with your child. Let them, you know, like we are owning our neurodivergent kid. Okay, this is what my child is, right? He cannot speak. Okay, but he is my child, and I'm going to love him the
yeah,
most, right? And I'm going to stand up for him. That's what we're doing on social media. So
yeah,
why not for the neurotypicals? It's okay. You
yeah,
don't have to advertise it, but when you are alone with your child, okay, what happened? Okay, if they say that this is something happened and this was embarrassing for me, then we can have this conversation. Okay, but why our neurodivergent child is doing that? He's not doing it to embarrass you. He simply does not have awareness to. And what the other children or parent need to have is understanding and empathy. And then again, do not I don't believe in vilifying other children because they're going to play and we can simply say is they don't have this empathy, or they don't have this
yeah,
level of understanding, and that's okay. They might learn at some point in time, and maybe if they're very close knit friends, they can have a conversation with their friends. But like, talking to your neurotypical child what their struggles are, and
yeah,
then don't take it personally, just own it. And when you're going to talk, you will come to a you will I mean you will be able to comfort them. And as we mentioned earlier, even there's not going to be any solution, having seen and having their experience validated, that they felt embarrassed, that they felt uh, you know, out of place, or whatever they feel sad, even the recognition that their experience was real will resolve most of their trauma or emotional emptiness that they are having, or
yeah. Do
yeah.
you advise that a mom to share her, like a lot of those issues that the neurotypical child is sharing with her about, some things that maybe embarrass him or her about their special needs sibling? Do you think, in your opinion, that a mom can also, in validating their feelings, say that, yeah, sometimes it embarrasses me too. I
Yeah.
have those moments as well. Do you
Yes.
think that that's safe for the mom to do that?
Look, what I see, all feelings are valid, but all behaviors are not. That's the rule. So if I'm feeling embarrassed, that's okay. I'm feeling it. But if I'm going to shout at my neurodivergent kid or throw him in the room because my friends are out there and you're embarrassing me, get lost, and blah blah blah. So this behavior is not okay.
Okay.
Like, right, we have feelings and we will have feelings, and we don't, we can manage our feelings, but we can't get rid of our feelings, right? Even, it's beautiful that, and whenever in Allah Ta'ala says that, uh, कि अपने गुस्से को काबू में करो. It never says कि गुस्से को खत्म कर दो, because it will
Yeah.
never खत्म. अगर खत्म हो गया तो आप एक normal इंसान ही नहीं है, right? So it's okay. It's okay to have feeling that. because people will, make you feel like this, but it's also important to not act on it if it's not respectful for other humans. So I think that in this way we can have this conversation that it's okay, I will also feel embarrassed, but I'll have to manage it, and you can talk about your experience, because if
Oh,
that, yeah, and then you can keep the conversation flowing with the children and talk more about it. And I think that when we talk, we get better. As we
yeah. Yes.
talk, we'd get better. Okay, then, and I think that's going to be beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
and I
going to
think
improve the bond.
exactly, and especially when you're talking without judgment. I
Yeah.
think that is the safest space to be in.
Yes.
I don't need, a lot of times our kids don't need our input. Like you
Yes.
rightly pointed out, they just want to be seen and heard. That's it. I don't
Yes.
want your advice. I just want to
Hmm.
say it and get
Hmm.
it out of my system. And when you give them that space to do it, they then realize that, yeah, it doesn't feel too bad anymore. Like they didn't even have to
Yes.
be in
Yes.
trouble. And then
Yes.
it's not too bad. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's very beautiful. And personally, I will not say every parent that go out and tell everyone that your child has
Yeah.
autism, because the backlash then
Yes.
you're going to
Not
face, that is going to be
everyone. Yeah.
hard, and not everybody's ready. So although some people say that talk about autism and talk about it, and you have to create awareness, but you have to be ready that not everybody is going to be kind, and in fact you're
Yes.
going to face many mean comments, not
Yes.
only if you're on Instagram, but also in your families. And if you don't have the capacity, because already raising a child with autism and neurotypical, balancing everything is too much. So I personally feel that it's okay if you don't are advocating for autism because you're not in
Uh-huh.
a position. That's okay.
Absolutely.
That's
It's not about
okay.
you, as long as you're able to show up for your kids and how you want to
Kid.
present your energy. That's
Yeah.
totally on you. Completely. I
Yeah.
agree with that. But I like that point. Can I ask a question around that so that you can
Yeah.
say this? Because this is good. Um, because a lot of moms feel pressured to talk and to do something about autism.
Sure.
Not every mom has that capacity.
Yes.
So I'll bring that in. Pele, we'll talk about the burnout thing. I'm
Okay.
so sorry. Are you coming down with something? You
Uh,
already.
y- yes, yes, but it's not too bad. So in the morning, I took some medicine. I say, okay, we have planned for a long time, so,
Hmm.
but it's manageable.
Okay, we'll wrap this up quickly. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay. So, Agdas, can you give me some pointers for a mom, especially to know when she's heading towards burnout? What are the things that she will find herself doing a lot of, where she's like, oh my God, I'm heading towards burnout? What do you think those actions could be?
Yeah, they could be very subtle actions, like, sometimes people find themselves screaming a lot at the children. Yeah, sometimes they will, and they are going to be different for every human. So for some people, it's going to come in the form of screaming and shouting, and for even little things that are not going to be very otherwise bothering them. But and some people will go in their shell and they will hide and they will not talk about, they will not be emotionally present. So you will not be able to enjoy things that you used to, you might not have a good sleep. So if and also, if you notice that we've kind of faced these things many times in our life.
Mm.
If you have good days, you might not feel it. But if you're having, if you're having some problem with school, if you're having some problem with your family, or if your child is showing some regression, then all of a sudden you will see that these things are going to, show up. And maybe because, every human has a capacity to bear the load. And when, the cup is full, it's going to, you know the water is going to
Overflow.
fall out. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So yes, these are some things that you will notice, and they're not going to be very loud or traumatic, like, okay, this is something burnout. They're going to be subtle, and you have to
And
kind of, yes, you have to kind of keep a note of your own self. Therefore journaling is very important, to kind of write down, because when we write down the feelings or the emotions, what it gives us, it gives them a language. And even, having seeing your emotion, having even naming your emotion and writing it down would resolve lots of problem. As we were talking about, that if we will talk to our children about their emotion, and we will tell them that we see you, they kind of half of the problem is solved. So same goes for if we will write our own problem, because not we will not give always a chance and as an adult to talk to a person to always, to talk about a
Yes.
feeling. So even if we're going to write it down and we will read it ourselves, you will notice that even by writing down, you will notice that, okay, that's not a big deal. Okay, I can manage it better next time. You know, that
Yeah.
that the fuss that mind creates, because we are in
Right
our fight and
in
fight.
there. Yeah, if you keep the thought in there, it's getting deeper, deeper, and more hardwired.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
when you get it
yeah.
out, either by talking or by writing,
Yes.
that's half the problem solved.
Yes, exactly. Because, if your papers are just, mesh, you make a ball with them and they're taking so much space. But if fold them
Hmm.
nicely, they will take less space.
Less space. I like that analogy. That's cool. And what about moms who, autism moms, especially in the times that we're in, where they're expected to go out and educate people about
Yeah,
autism?
yeah.
And obviously, I completely get that. I feel that way too. That I need to go out and educate and all of that. But then I came to a point at us where I was like, I've got my own ship to keep afloat.
Mm,
If
yes.
anybody really cares and
Yeah.
wants to know about autism, they will find their way to me or to any other
Yes.
mom who is openly
Yes.
advocating, right?
Yes.
I don't have to go out and keep, being the flag
Banging.
bearer. Yeah, that
Yeah.
looks to me, I have autism
Yes.
in my family, because the burnout that comes from that is real.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
That's beautiful. Yeah, yes, yes. You're very right. You're very beautiful describing the story of many humans. So, then we have to keep a balance. Like, for example, if you're burnt out and if you're having too much to deal, that's
mm,
okay. Take a time out. And same goes for everything in life, but specifically in this field, if because sometimes you have to deal with school, you have to deal with therapies, your child might be showing regression, you might be having some strain in your relationship with your family or your spouse, or with having another issue about you, because life just keep on happening. and
yeah,
and then going out and telling, okay, my child has autism and he's having this difficulty, and that's okay, they're normal humans, you don't have to treat them differently. This is at the top of the food chain. If you have to make a hierarchy, it's good to go, it's good to do if you can. But if you're going to go for a top and you're not having your home straight, you're not meeting your child's need, you're not meeting your neurotypical need, then what's the point of that? I
oh
mean,
my God,
you know
that is beautiful. That is beautiful. That's a double click moment there. That, oh God, I love the way you explained it. You'll have to say it again. I loved it. That analogy of the pyramid. I thought of it
Thank
that.
you. And because if you're going to go out and you're going to talk about your child, all the comments that you're going to receive will not be positive. So
Oh my
that is
God,
going
yes.
to be, another emotional blow for you to handle. So you have to have really hard, good muscles, emotional muscles to deal with that as well.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that muscle yet, that's okay. That's okay.
Don't do it.
Do whatever. Yes, do whatever you can do in that moment. We don't have to be perfect. We can't be perfect. There's an illusion that comes that we kind of settle our self-esteem that I need to be perfect and then I am a good human. No
Yeah.
human is perfect. We cannot be perfect, and only Allah is perfect alone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we can never be perfect, and that's okay. That's the beauty. Allah Pak said that if all humans would stop sinning, then he will just erase them from the planet and will recreate the humans that will make mistake, and then they will repent. you know so
Yeah.
choose your battle wisely first. I mean, if you can do, for some people, if you're going to go for talk about it, it's strengthening, it strengthens them, it gives them muscles, gives them a challenge, and then they can manage their home well. But
Mm.
if you are not that person, that's okay. Take your own, fight your own battles first, and
Choose your
then
priority. Yeah.
yes, exactly, exactly. And don't feel any shame about it, because everybody's going to come up with different opinions. But at the end of the day, you have to do what is best for you,
Yeah.
what is best in the best interest of your children, and then what is the best interest of society and awareness. And so I think that is a very personal choice, and that's okay, whatever choice you make.
Yeah. And it's so true, because actions speak louder than words. So if you stay in your lane, I'm not saying that moms shouldn't be going out there and advocating. Absolutely. Like you said, if you have that emotional capacity to do so, go for it. But when
Yeah.
you feel that this is taking a toll on me, because you're literally
Mm.
opening yourself up to everything, the
Yes.
good and the bad, that's coming
Yes.
from from showing up, right?
Yes.
So if it's taking a toll on you and how you're showing up for your kids, because that's your first
Yeah.
responsibility,
Yeah.
then there's no shame in backing out
Yes.
and
There's no
saying,
shame.
"Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah." I
Yeah.
mean, I think
That's
that's an important message for me too. I need to hear that too. So thank you
yeah.
so much for doing that.
You're most welcome, Farah. You're most welcome. And the humans are like, if they're going to have you will have thousands of good comments, and you will read them, and you will feel good. But there going to be one bad comment that's going to
Always.
stick in your heart. And when your child is going to say that's not fair, or when your child is going to throw an autism meltdown, that is the time okay, अब तो मैं बोलूंगी सब कुछ जो मेरे
That's
दिल में है.
हाँ, वो कमेंट वो XYZ बंदे ने कुछ बोल दिया बस उसका भी निकालूंगी अब तुम पे ही।
Exactly. So if that is
Wrong
happening,
timing.
so so keep your pros and cons in mind before you dive in. Um, even if you're not on Instagram or on YouTube, on social media, you're still raising awareness. You will be
Mm,
raising awareness at your local level, because you
yeah.
are going to school, you're going to therapies. Obviously, you're not living in isolation in some planet. You're living on the planet Earth. You're meeting people, and the people who are around you are learning from you. So
Mm,
it's not that all or none. You're still raising awareness, and you just keep on broadening your circle of influence or circle of awareness. So don't
as
think
you
like that.
just
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, I cannot do create awareness, and I'm not good for it. But you are doing it in your own way. That might be helpful if you feel too, that I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's so important for us moms to hear because, like I said, we do resort to Instagram as our um,
Yeah.
as our therapist for some reason. Instead of venting it out on paper,
Yeah.
we press the record button and we're there. We do that.
Yeah. Yes,
So
yes, yes.
it helps to hear that awareness doesn't mean that you have to just blurt out everything out there on
Mm.
social media, that you're also doing what's necessary for yourself to take care
Yes.
of your
Yes.
feelings in a private way
Yes. Yes, definitely. Yes. Because that's going to be more helpful for you as well.
in the long run. Yeah.
Yeah.
Note to self first. Thank you so much for that. I had a wonderful time. And
Same here, Farah. Same here. I also enjoyed talking to you.